affordable door and gate. This is the night edition. I think I'm going to take, you have to let me know if the audio is okay, if you can hear again. I'm playing around. I think, actually, let me check that out real quick before I might look into the wind here. So let me check out. We'll see. Let me know if you can hear me. Everything's okay. Or something different again here. Yes, sir. Yeah, I think I'm going to take Rich B's advice. So, and I think I'm going to get some casters for this gang box because I think it's a good idea. I think it'll be nice. That way I don't have to deal with the wheelie thing. The wheelie thing did show itself, so that's good. What's going on with there? Why I gotta be like that? So we're doing this one a little nice. This one's gonna have conduit, which I don't know if you guys can see. Yeah, you can see the conduit in the back of the truck. Hopefully I don't have to talk so loud. Now I think of it. I'm not used to the earbud world, but if it works, and you guys can hear me, that's great. That's awesome. I see blue over there, so somebody must be joining in. Welcome. Oh, I forgot to tell you guys too. Happy Easter. You're coming in. Happy Easter for tomorrow. All that good stuff. Hope you enjoy your time with family and loved ones. And hope everybody has good health and all that good stuff. Maybe a few Easter egg hunts or something like that. All that fun stuff. The kiddos love that kind of stuff. Maybe have food, little chow. But anywho, like I said, I'm gonna get those casters. It looks like Harbor Freight. Harbor Freight has them. This other door. This is ridiculous. I got to get this. I got the big. For some reason, if Rich B jumps in, or he comes by the channel, I got the big table. The big table. This isn't even my table. It's my mom's. I borrowed it for something, a long time event, and then of course it stayed with me, which is okay. It's okay. It's kind of sometimes it happens, and I think she does it deliberately because then this one's got a little bit of beat up, and then when she needs one, I just go buy her one. She gets the brand new one. It's kind of how it happened with the generator. It was a bummer, man. The generator got taken, and I had to call my business partner times to bring that darn generator back. The generator has got beat up so over the years for so many uses. She got dinged up pretty good, and luckily I found the exact same one. And honestly, to think about it, it's probably sitting over at their house. It hasn't been. It's probably got some really stale gas in it. I don't know why I closed it. I don't know if any of you guys that do commercial, maybe Tanner would. Do you guys do the conduit? So I got a couple licks of this. I'm actually going to do this. Is audio okay? Can you guys hear me? I'm going to do this. I'm not very good with this, but I can get by. I have to watch a certain video to do it, to put a little bump out. But my hat's off to those electricians out there, because this to form these. But I do it for the wall button, and then I'll do it for the photo eyes. We'll go through some of the other stuff. I got, how tall is the ceilings in here? That's about 9. So can I just set it up here in the corner? And then, nah, I better not, because I don't trust myself to not forget it. I better set it over by this other stuff. Actually, I'll set you guys up a little different. Maybe you can have a little better view. Let's see, where can we put you? Where can we put you so you not have to look at the back of the east side? I know, you Chevy guys, Ford guys. Gotta give you some grief, right? Oh, it's got a glare. I don't know if I like the glare. The glare, do I dare? This just is what it is, I guess. This is the only flat spot I could. I'll throw my stuff over in this bay. I said she's full. We get a little downtime. Get over here and get this out again. But like I said, at least for a good 2, 3, probably about a month and a week. So I ain't gonna see that, because it's right now we're in that little spurt where there's some bigger jobs, and they're just gonna eat up those days. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. There's that. So I was hoping they had 8 foot. If you guys are able to get 8 footers, half is it E? Is it EMT? EMT conduit? I don't know what this stuff's called. But if you guys can get that an 8 footer, I can only do 5 or 10. And I did 5 and then I did 10. I did fives for the push buttons. So here's the 5, 5, 5, 5. What the fudge? It's not the same. Huh. I guess I got a little extra on that one. That's weird. Anywho, so did the 5 footers for the push buttons. Nice. The reason I like the 8 footers, just easier transport. If you bring extra, and you got to take them back in a pickup truck or something. Just looking out for the next person. Better, but let's take a look here. I'll grab some of this stuff. A lot of material. Um, I probably should let you guys know that I had a $3,000 bill. The lady, what did she tell me? I was kind of joking with her, right? She seemed a little, how you get somebody, how you get like how do I say it? It's just sometimes it's kind of hard to find good help these days. We got 2 likes. Most people out there. Thank you for the likes. If you don't mind, hit the like button. Just it wakes up the algo, brings more people, and it's all good stuff. Um, anyways, the lady, she was nice. She was really nice. I don't think bad, but she just, whatever. So, anyways, she's ringing me up, and I said, I just kind of jokingly under my breath, I said, how many millions is it be today? And I was already watching when she was calculating it. Maybe like 365 or something. And anyway, she finally finals everything out. I actually had in-store credit set up because just might as well. I might die tomorrow. You never know. And anywho, I she rings it up. I'm still like 3,600 and like some dollars. And I'm just like, what? Like $1,000. Yeah. And I'm just sitting there just like, ooh, like I'm gonna put my credit card away. Like that's a lot. Like something's gotta give. Like I know inflation's hot. So I told her, I said, she has kind of the audacity. She goes, I go, holy crap. I said, how'd it go for $300? I said to 3,000. And she goes, well, I mean, you got this. And she's looking, it was like a almost a $200. The biggest one was like a $200 purchase, right? And I told her, I said, I'm not real good with math, but I said, I know basic math. And I said, I'm looking at what you're on your screen there. And I said, that's not adding up to 3,000. So I said, you better keep scrolling. So she starts scrolling. Well, she got, what did she get? I'll show you. Somewhere over here. In a goodie bag. Yeah, a lot of money here. Just this bag's of $3,000. And so anywho, let me see if I can find them. I probably should open these up anyways. It wasn't these. It's right here, actually. It was these. That's why I called it the EM. I think what they call this at the store, EMT. EMT, right? That's what goes into a photo eye. You put you knock the knockout, and then you put the screw in there, and then you put the conduit in there and crimp her down. Anyways, she had like, I only had two. I don't know if she had 1,000 or 2,000 of these on the quantity. And I said, whoa. I said, that's, I could see the big number. It was like already 3,000 something on just those. I said, I only got two. I said, I only got 2,000. And, so get the Romax clamp. I mean, all these things add up to do it right. You know what I mean, Romax clamps, right? I use that for the whips. I put whips on the commercial openers. Um, let's see here. I got these. I got two different kinds. I got these anchors for the photo eyes. They're a little bigger than what I'm used to. What are these? Quarter. But I sometimes I like these. It just depends, man. It's like ice cream. It just depends on the weather that day. I swear. Um, I got another set. I'll show you. I got these are for the hooks. You know, these are like for the hooks for your um. Get a little closer. That'll be for the conduit. Um, we got that. I got another size. Oh, I got two of them. I didn't know if I was gonna have enough. So I got that. Got the anchors. I'm gonna go put this over in the clang there, so I don't forget. And I'll show you the next bag of three types of product. Jokingly. Do 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 do. Whoa! Hey, hang on a second. Got to turn the light on. There are automatic lights, you know. Sometimes they're sensors. I don't know why I didn't. Guess I just have to keep waving. The one night I did it. See the traffic. It's pretty busy out there. All right, let's see what this one's got. I did grab some gloves just in case, because sometimes guys come to the job site and they don't have gloves. We got 4 lights. Thank you guys for hitting the like button. Um, these are the ones I like. I like these at Lowe's. I found these ones. These are okay too. Whatever these ones are, they're okay. They're okay, but these ones are cheaper. I like these ones. These from Lowe's. You just get these regular red, black ones. I think there's 3 in here. 3 pairs. So I grabbed a couple extra. Like I said. Um, Got to get the caps, right? That's the finishing touch, right? There's all these little things to details. Those little white caps for your conduit, so it doesn't get shaped up. I'll check you guys out here, hopefully in the comments here shortly. I'm not trying to ignore you or anything. You guys are probably screaming at me. Can't hear you. Where's that? A pair of gloves. I got that. That's good. Let me go ahead and put that one away. That's half of the 3,000. Do 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 do. That. There's that. All right, and then I tried some different clean. I seem like I remember that. um, you know the what do you call this? The green, simple green works. It works okay. Um, but like I said, this is kind of a long distance in my scenario. So I decided they only had other stuff. They didn't have purple power, but they had this one's super clean and it's biodegradable, so you can eat it. So if we get real thirsty, voila. I will try it if just in case somebody does. Sometimes things happen. I got this. I like to restock always these shims. I like these composite shims. They seem like they're a little better than wood. If you got residential, I used up some, so I restocked them. So that's it for that bag. I'll throw it over there. I think we got make sure there's nothing else. That's just electrical tape. I think we got one bag left, and that will sum us up to about $3,000. You think you guys go? Yeah, I got a good deal, didn't I? Oh, I guess I don't need these. I think I'm gonna need. Well, crap. I don't know. It's like one of those things. Should I bring the shims? So leave the door. I'll bring. I'll bring one thing of shims just in case I'm there by myself or something or whatever. Oh, the schedule's a little funny this week, but I'll take the other. I'll take the other one so I can put my kit. Because I definitely do not like not having shims when I'm doing stuff. I just wish I knew what to do about the sticker situation. I just wish I had blank install date ones. Let's see what's in this one. Okay, so here's those other anchors. These sometimes can be a little tight. You just mend though. It's kind of satisfying, ain't gonna lie, to smack them in. But sometimes you gotta drill out the holes on the photo eyes, and that's a little dangerous. Because they are gonna be genies. Crap, they're gonna be genies probably. And genie has a little bit smaller hole. I still might want to get a little bit smaller anchor. I didn't see any. I looked for smaller ones, the red ones. I didn't see any. These are those, just buy a clip of these or whatever. Holding up the conduit on the side. EMT. I don't know if that's just something Lowe's or that's what they're called, EMT. You got EMT. I got these. It's nice little box full. This should be plenty. We'll use this for keeping on the clip mount seal. I thought about gluing it. They're just like a tapper, which is nice. I will put them in the crevice because we're doing Wayne Dalton. Whoa, this bag's failing. Imagine that. And I feel like these are not gonna be small enough. I don't think so. I could probably grab one of the red ones and see if it kind of what it looks like. I'll show you guys, but I don't have much faith in it. It's okay. It's just more stuff to store. It's fine. Nobody will know. Nobody will know. We have a whole hardware store. It's okay. Whew. All right, maybe before I do that, I'll check out the house real quick, make sure nobody's yelling at me, saying, you went bye-bye, you went blank. Thanks for being here, by the way. Let's grab some water, shall we? I know it was a long trip. Been a long day. Like I said, started at 10. Now, trust me, it wasn't like running a marathon, but it's been a long day. Just a lot of little bits and pieces, putting stuff together, sitting there going through your list, all that good stuff ready, so you have a good start. A good start. Ooh. Got the umbilical cord on you guys today. I don't touch. That's why I wear gloves in the first place. So I don't have to touch other stuff like your steering wheel and all that. Get it dirty. Hands are nice and clean. Oh, all right. What do we got here? What's going on with this thing? All right. Tony's in the house. Tony, I seen your picture there. That was pretty cool. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I see they got a new feature. I was watching somebody else. I think I was watching Pop Tony, and they got that high feature or whatever on there. I saw that's pretty cool. It's kind of high. Evening, Dave. Tanner, are we starting to relax? Hey, Sky's here. Very good. Sky, I just wanted to, if you're still here or whatever, I wanted to let you know. I seen your increase, your chart and all that stuff. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much. I didn't reply like a jerk. But I just wanted to tell you thank you. It came email and text message. That stuff. What's it say? They make a tool that just what bends the bump out. Really? Do you know what it's called? Oh, it's right here. Look, it's already had me. Was it green? 1810 offset bender. Did I bring my notepad? Oh, I did. I did. Been notepadding all day today. Let's write this puppy down. I will look it up tonight, possibly yet tomorrow. Let's see here. Let's go green. That's amazing. Really, because I think that's the only thing I've done for bends. Well, I guess not. I gauge stuff I normally do. I do bigger stuff. Set. Perfect. Sweet. Thank you so much for that. Green. These notepads are always kind of weird. Like, I use the sharp ones. They work kind of better, but the problem is I'm a lefty, so my hand drags across and I smudge it all up. So you got to use the Sharpie so it doesn't, because this is like kind of special paper. It's supposed to be able to do it in storms. And I guess if I use pencil, I think that's okay too. But I'm kind of a pen guy, um, so I have to use these Sharpies with this, otherwise it smudges. It's like back in school when I used to have use cursive and write all over, and your whole side's all. Yeah, that was fun. So there's that. Oh, ever after, says Joe. You guys got any stuff lined up for Monday yourselves? Uh, Go back, get this paired up a little bit. You guys are pretty quiet. I said too, if you guys got anything, you always remember that's what the lives are for. If you got any questions and stuff like that. I was thinking about cousin Evan. What was I doing? I forgot what I was doing. There was something I had out here. Oh, I had to show you guys this photo. Yeah, we got to get the. No, I don't know. I got to make a run out tomorrow, anyways, because I might grab those rollers for that container thing there. What do we call it? The job box. And then also Rich, I'm glad you showed up. I was just thinking, just going to mention you. Couple things. For one, that bigger job box, I actually got one, but it's not portable. I use it for like personal use. And the wheels exploded on it. Like all the rubber stuff came off. It's just down to metal. Never gets moved very much. I just use it for outside like storage, for like my old 18-volt uh, stuff. I try to put like all my tools. But that is a nice job box, that taller one. The one I seen actually has a little bit of a slant to it. And I thought that one might be nice because at least you could get like your level in there. That one's just a hair too small, but it does the job. I mean, you just have to throw stuff to the side. Let's take a look at this photo I together. See what kind of mess I made. Tried so hard, but yet I failed. I have a feeling. How did I do those ones? Let's see here. Let's see. I think these are going to be. These are too big. I couldn't find any smaller ones. Out of that's pretty big. So, and these are gnarly to cut. Yeah, it might make it. It might make it. Let me see. I'd probably be in a store place. I could probably find a set of photo eyes, you'd think. But maybe not. Can I find a set of genies? Can I get that lucky? I don't normally have a lot of genie failures with the photo eyes, so not most common around here. Mm. Genie. Oh, Genie, where are you? There's got to be Genie photo eyes around here somewhere. I think I got that in a bucket somewhere, but not. Oh, come on, man. No genies. Or summer. Definitely don't want to tear open a box. That's forbidden. Really don't want to climb over there because all that. What are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do? If I had my calipers, which I don't, could check it that way. Got one genie sitting down here. I don't know what's wrong. I think that was shaft. I don't know. All I gotta do is look for the yellow bags. But anyways, I was thinking about I was checking Rich's text message out on those rollers. They are a little bit cheaper. Who knows if they're? Oh yeah, oh yeah, we getting lucky today. Sucks. I gotta open a bag though. I don't know. They're just open. Oh, I always thought this was weird. I think Papa that one. I don't know about that. That just seems kind of cheesy to me. No lie. Oh, here we go. This will work better. There we go. One's even kind of broke open for me. All right, moment of truth. Oh, it's kind of It'll make it, but man, you're gonna have to be dead stinking nuts. Son of a gun. It'll screw in. It's gonna be a little tricky. Yeah. Looks nice though. It's nice and beefy. Now, did I get enough? I can't remember if I got enough. I either got right at the number. I tried to go a little over, but I thought, life problems. But at least I got something. Something's better than nothing. I guess, did something just fall? All right. Yes, better than nothing. Mm-hmm. What we got here? Uh, the left-handed thing. Yeah, that's me. That's me. I'm actually I kind of use both. Like if I catch a ball, I'm like the right way, but if I'm like really what they call it, ambidextrous or whatever. Amberdex. 12, 1, 16. 12, 1, 16. So maybe I'll grab another one tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see. All right, that's all good. That's stable. Got material. You guys think of anything else I'm forgetting? I put bump stops down. We gotta have bump stops. Angle. I'm trying to think of the stuff they got. Like the garage door stuff should be most there. Whips, openers. Oh, I know what I'm forgetting. I think I did have my list though. Spreader bars. Do. Is it Taylor? Taylor's up there. He says hi. Well, hello. Welcome. Kevin says flush conduit to the end of tool. Oh, and push handle easy peasy. Really? To figure those angles. Wow. Great, man. I mean, I really, thank you, Kevin, very much for that because I got to watch this video and like I got to always like measure, like write down the dimensions, how make the darn thing. And I'm always like sweating bullets because like this time I bought exactly what we needed. I got one stick, like um, at the homestead, but you know, I was just if I screw one up, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Guess one's gonna be a little shorter. Do. What you got, Rich? What you got? I like the that one because it has self. Where's it says self round, three sides, and the newer ones have a little box box for phones and wallets. Oh, that's pretty nice. Yeah, I never. I bought one for I can't remember. I bought it at Marketplace many years ago. The bigger one, the one haven't been showing. And to be honest, I ain't gonna lie. I'm surprised how much in love I fell in with it. You know what I mean? It's I was noticing even the other day something was leaning on the sides, and the way the lid folds way up and then folds back down, and it doesn't get trapped. I mean, some stuff if you're doing kind of real aggressively, but it just was. You know how you ever have something in your life that you go like you use it like a tool or whatever it is, and you go, damn, you go, a man must have made this, like a real man, like a man or some engineer that's a really good engineer that really methodically thought about this because I didn't realize I was going to get so lucky too because it sits out in all the and there is never a drop of water in the thing, besides unless it's like I open up the cover and it's wet and it a couple drips come down. But I'm always really impressed. Like I'm always just like, this thing has like zero gaskets, piano hinge in the back. The top goes up and the front flips. And I think my box might be getting they still kind of work, but they're not, I'm doing kind of a little bit more work than I think I should. But Wow. What a, and then when you get the right, I think I had to order them. So one thing too, just this is for some of those young bucks out there. If you ever buy a job box, which is like the one that's out there, that was my original one I bought. We used to carry water, and I think I forgot to tell the rest of the story. We used to carry water in it. Um, in our trailer for concrete. I put a pump in there, submersible pump and stuff. Then I started getting kind of rusty, and I retired it. And then we came up with better ideas, like jugs work the best, really, 1 gallon jugs. So bleach bottles and whatever. The clear bottles are the best, like windshield washer fluid. But anywho, um, they had like little weird looking tabs. They're like 3 holes or something, and I was like, "What are these?" I was like, "Is this to like hold some stupid bracket or something?" Yeah, I threw those things away. And for years after I retired it from being a water jug, I really, really regretted throwing those tabs away because parts that went into it, and you put a bolt in or whatever, and that was so you could put a padlock in there, and that works sweet. Once it works, and you figure out how it works, the whole padlock system, it works great. It's really hard to break into. It's easier to get into it with a grinder than try to manipulate the locks. But I threw those tabs away, and for the longest time, it's like I looked for. It's kind of hard to find. I had to buy them like through. I didn't know which if they are universal, what brand I had. So you know what I mean. It's just one of those things. I'm just saying, if you get those tabs in there, if you ever buy a J box, do not throw those away. Hopefully, like I think the bigger one I bought already had installed. I think so. Those work great too. It's got locks on the side. I don't use them. Hopefully, the kids don't pop them on me because I think I do have the key. Do, 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 do. But that's pretty cool. If they got upgrades like that you can put, that is nice. Because I tell you what, when you're there, you realize, wow, this is really nice. Got 6 likes too. Thank you guys for hitting the like button. Uh, Newer ones. Harbor, Harbor has some of the rollers. The first roller they show though, they don't show weight it can hold. So I'm kind of, which ones do I? Oh, and I got to measure. I'm assuming the 4 inch are pretty standard. I got to measure that. I probably need some bolts. I'm sure I can dig up something. So I don't know. We'll see. Do do do. What's he got? Kevin says those anchors cheaper than Tapcons. Bought a box last week. Box 200 was $55. I don't know if they were cheaper. I don't think they're really cheaper. Um, it's kind of weird, but like the Tapcons, sometimes it's really like give or take. I don't know if it's my guess is because I'm not a concrete expert, which you're more than welcome to put anything in the comments about concrete that you know. I was just watching something tonight actually why they put lime there and I've been hearing was it fly ash? There's other stuff. I mean, I really, really love concrete. I don't know why. I don't like dealing with it, but I love it. It's just like something that lasts the test of time. You know what I mean? And so I love the whole concept of it and the idea behind it. Anywho, I don't know if I'm like more green concrete, and that's what the problem is. I've burned Capcons before. I've used the bit they supply, whatever, and for whatever reason I've had it before. It's like, um, you go to like screw it in, and all of a sudden, it's like, oh crap, man, that thing didn't bite. Now, I've used them sometimes; they work fine. It's just the consistency of them is never that good for me, anyways. Um, So I like that little. I've had really good luck with the rubber on it because that just makes it kind of gooey and ooey in there, and it has something to bite. The swedges have worked pretty good, and like I said, it's kind of satisfying just banging them with a hammer, and they're in. So that's just me. Tapcons are not a bad choice. I just, I don't know. Tapcons just sometimes, and it's really weird. It's just like sometimes they work just fine, and then other times it's like, what gives, man? Like you're sitting there reading the instructions, looking at the bit, right? It's the right size. I mean, I made one swoop in, one swoop out. I didn't. Woo, 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 woo. It's like, what is going on, man? Why is this thing? You know, and you know how it is. Once it happens, now you're like trying to cover up your. Um, so I think that's kind of why I don't use the Tapcons. I think the only time, sometimes I'll use them for blocks a little bit, like when you're doing your track. Obviously, you can take them out. Photo eyes, I normally just mark with the marker and then hit it with. Uh, oh, Rich B, huh? You're a lefty too? Nice. Dude. uh, M says, do you use left-handed screws? No, 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 nothing like that. Right? I use this. I use it. Is that like is that like the blinker fluid joke? Uh, no, but I do. No, but I do have. I have a hammer, so that's kind of weird, right? So no. So if you use a, see, yeah, because see, I use my right hand. I use my right hand to hammer. Tony, what's up, boys? Knock. Just a Knox box. Uh, the Menards ones, I think, are 625. Well, that'd be plenty. That'd be plenty per roller. Make more sense because they wanted quite a bit of money for 20 compared to what Harbor Freight, which I'm all about. You know what I mean? I don't mind spending money as long as you're getting something that's better quality. Uh, you got the nut driver. Tanner's got it. Next time you go, got the nut driver that is 9.5, all the same shaft. You can switch it. Also, can hold a bit like T. I'll take a picture of it. Yeah, definitely do that because I'm not sure exactly. I know what you're talking about because maybe I already got. I was jealous. Mr. Caleb bought like some Milwaukee bits, which I don't even know where he got them, what store. But they had an inch magnet bit, and he's like, he dumped them out. He's looking, looking for something, and I go, dude. He goes, 7.5. And I said, you got a half inch? I said, magnet bit. I was like, that'd be sweet. I mean, there's just rare occasions that you get some manufacturers that do the half versus the 7/16, or maybe you're taking them out or whatever. I just thought, well, they made a half-inch magnet, at least kind of readily available for the retailer, versus you got to order online. I'm sure, you can find about anything through Grainger. You spend the big bucks. Tomorrow, it's a garage door service game changer. It's an uh, electrician tool. Hmm. Let's see. Tapcons are a love hate. He says, be good brick/brock or concrete. I always have an issue with Tapcons. Other day, I bought a new hammer drill bit, and that was the trick. Interesting. Yeah, it's really weird. Like I said, the Tapcons are just. I'm kind of with Tanner. It's a hate. It's like one of those things. Like I don't have nothing against them by any means. To be honest, I'd rather have all three: the Tapcons, the red ones, and the hammer down ones. I like to have options. It seems like I'm sure some guys can relate. Like when you get to the job, when you get to the job, you know what I mean? You get the music pumping, everybody's in the groove, and then all of a sudden it takes this one stupid fastener to like fail, and you're just like, this is not working. Now it's like, what do we do? It's like, does somebody go to the hardware store and burn up 2 hours? Do we just on to something else? It's like the list goes on, and it's always just a bummer because I tell you what, it gets when you worked a hard day's worth of work, and then you gotta go to the hardware store after work. It's like for me, that's like dragging me by the shirt. It's like I'm going. You gotta go to the store. Of course, you you know you see whoever friends or family, and they're like, hey, and you're like, hey, stay back. I'm really stinky. I'm just waiting for that shower. And so it's just like, live again. Evan, too, let me know if that didn't really make sense. I can try to explain it, or I probably won't tear it apart because I'm just lazy and it's late. But hope kind of making progress. Garage Guy says hi. Hello, hello. What's up, Tanner? I'm a new guy in the industry. Awesome. You're at the right spot. Good time to always ask questions. That's what we love doing here. Yeah, they are. Oh, organized. Huh. It says, is this the Tanner? Is it the Keen one? Yeah, makes one too, huh? Hmm. I'm trying to think of that driver. Ooh, yeah, it's too bad. I don't think I got one with me. Do I got one with me? I might have brought one. Let me go see it. Let's go. Let's go take a look if we got it. This is my ultimate go. I always kind of compare kind of like Mr. Caleb and Evan. Like they're kind of in the same boat, age and stuff. Well, I think Evan's a little older and stuff, but he seems like they kind of relate a little bit. But unfortunately, or if you can order this online, this is my go, man. This is my secret weapon. The Master Force. Is that Master Force? Master Force. I love this. You get this at Menards. I think they're right around 19, 20 and some change. I think. Rich probably walks by it every day. But and I know you don't have it. Maybe you can order it. Mine's missing just a little bit. It's a little bit off, but it comes with whatever is it the 5/16? I don't know what size it is. Let's take a look a little closer here. Yeah, 5/16. Comes with 5/16 all the way up to 7/16. The only thing I ever have to add, which I buy it from Menards as well, I get myself one of those nut drivers, whatever the 3/8 that go in your thing. I like this one. It's a little longer. I don't know. I just like it. Have certain things, but it's got a little extension in there for you. It's got if you're dealing with like decking material, you got to put a screw in. It's got Phillips. This thing is great. This is for the price. I just bought another one. This one's about ready to retire. And then what I do, it shuts so nice too for such a cheap product. Just got that right feel to it. You know how something feels right to you? Yeah, not do that. Fling it in my head. You got your little like that. And you're good. It's good to go. And it's green. I know what it is. I know it's my bits. Um, but it's got square heads in it. It's got Phillips. It's got, obviously with this little adapter here, then you can come over here and use all kinds of little bits. So this is really great. I love this thing. But anyways, I'm sticking this, and and I'm really weird about my tools. I go all over the place for my tools. Like I used to wrenches from Menards when they were the gear wrenches when I used to like them, and then I'd buy this from Menards, and then I buy. There's just certain things I like. I kind of like the Stanley screwdrivers, the universal ones. Orange ones work okay too. I just Stanley's a little bit better. They feel a little more refined. Um, I don't know, just certain things like that. But these are magnet bits too, which is nice. And then at Menards too, I buy the extension one. They got one that I don't know what is it, 6 inch, so you can get in the track better. That's nice. We needed that the other day. Uh, Tony, anybody work today or tonight? Good question. Ooh, what's the best door manufacturer? All right, go boys, eat them up. We got 9 likes too. Thank you guys for hitting like button. If you don't mind, hit the like. Just helps bring people in. YouTube likes it. YouTube likes stimulation. I don't know. That's what they say, anyways. Best garage door manufacturer. Well, let's see. Tony's going to tell you Invicta. Rich B is going to be what? Rusty's going to be Clopay. Tanner, was it North Central? Um, Uncle Dave. Hmm, I don't know. I don't know. I think it's going to be Door pretty soon. But I'd love to touch Invicta. It's whoever works pretty good for you, gives you least amount of problems, something like that. Menards has a half. Oh, mag drivers. I use the long ones. Oh, really? Huh. I just didn't think I've ever seen the edge. That's good. It's good to know. That'll work perfect. Just once in a while, I don't know what it is. I come across a 6 inch, and I'm always just like, son of a biscuit. I even carry a 3/8. I don't know why. It's just sometimes as you get into certain spots, like somewhat, maybe you're doing a tear out or something. Um, they just sneak in there a little better. Ooh, Tony's got the Victa. Evan says, Grash Guy says, depends on who you ask. That's true. It's kind of like the whole, what kind of manufacturer for a car do you like? Do you like the Chevys, the Fords, the whatever there's out there, Dodge. I would look at who's close for you. That's how I always look at it. Um, maybe. So Evan, I think is. What'd you say? You're using like a lumber yard? Is that kind of how it is? And then you're getting a discount instead of the box stores. You got to figure out who gives you the best customer service. That's how I feel. How do you get the best customer service? Who's close? Who's local? Who's convenient? Evan, get my number from Dave. He says, I'll start sending you links, all the best tools. Like Dave says, he says, I got the good stuff. Man, he's got some sweet hammers too. I have tools you have never seen before. That is true. Let's see here. Garage guy, in my opinion, Haas and North Central garages are the best, hands down. That's Tanner. God, I thought that was Tony for a second. I was like, what? Evan, GTA, Rich, Tony working for Invicta now. He's got Invicta. He's got Surewinder. Man, he's just the salesman on here. Garage in Canada. Yeah, I got one nice for limited use. Wouldn't use it for hardware. Hardware, a full door. Use it for hardware. I wonder what Kevin's talking about when you use it for hardware. Hardware a full. Maybe I missed something. So for garage, I see a steel crack garage door, but they are very common up here, which makes sense. Garage door, make sure you get a Surewinder. See, the best I like is the Horman Industry. Hey, like I said, if it works. I don't remember. See, I don't know. Does Horman even have a standard hinge door? They got some weird hinge stuff, and they do like the pinch resistance. I'm kind of curious. Maybe you guys can put it like in the comments. Like are I guess maybe put in there something like, I'm a fan or I'm not really a fan for the whole pinch resistant. I just don't. It's never been something that's been really top on my agenda for garage doors. I think it's not if it's there, it's there. You know what I mean? And it's not a bad thing, but it seems like anytime they try to do that, they like Amar had that weird hinge setup. Thought Horman did something with a weird hinge setup. Uh, Wayne Dalton has that weird the 9000 series doors. Um, I don't know. I just not a big. I don't know. Just not really a big fan. I mean, where but I have watched somebody in front, like a customer one time, put a door down. Sure as enough, man, they put their finger in there. They got it a little bit. Wasn't horrible, but ouch, I heard, and I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, yeah, don't stick your fingers in there. Yeah, Tanner says, oh yeah, he says, and Victor Tone, we're looking into them, and I think they are twins with North Shore. Both look identical and built really well. Huh. Has me. Caleb has more experience? Maybe a little bit. Maybe a little bit. Um, I don't know. But like I said, just some of the stuff he says, I always kind of I think about cousin Nick, and I'm always like, yeah, like I should mention that or for like tools or something. Same. Oh yeah, got the same magnet, big box. Works good, man. So this is the best one I found. Just Bam. Nice and solid. Got your little clippy. Just always feels right. Holds up. It's got a nice metal, metal pin in there. But once they start, what I do is I'll retire this one. This one will just hang around. Then as I lose, I'll use the other one. And sometimes they get, there's certain things that get used up, and I'll finally chuck them. Um, can't save everything. Hey, everyone has their opinion. He says about Horman is garbage. He says, LOL. He says, our dealer and sell them if we hate them with a passion. They are cheap. That's true, is what Papa Tony. I didn't ever, the little bit I dealt with them, I didn't feel like they were cheap. I just, they're over engineered. And that's what Josh told me, supposedly. This is just rumors. Hey, we got 9 likes too. Thank you guys for hitting the like button. He was using Horman, and he was telling me that he uses Horman is because he says they were originally an engineering company. If this is true, they were originally an engineering company, and then they started making doors. He said, like, supposedly their springs are really balanced through their door. Maybe so. You know what I mean? So that's a good thing, because for me, like with Clope, it feels like the doors are like always off. You know what I mean? Like it just never feels buttery smooth. I can tell you that. Safeway does a pretty decent job, very smooth. But Wayne Dalton, they might be a hair above Clope in my opinion, but they're right there. It's kind of, they do the job. I don't think I've ever Horman door up here. I buy all my magnet sockets from Resource. Ooh, big dog, big dog. Not a bad idea. You got that nice little clip. I still got that clip. I'm debating on what to put in there. Maybe you should make a list of what you got in yours. You think it's pretty bulletproof? Because I got mine, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, I need to put this thing into use. I thought about using it for something else, and then I was like, I forget what it was. Even one of my roofers, I was watching him, and he had one. And I thought, a little bugger. I was like, that's pretty cool. And he was telling me, he goes, I hate forgetting things. I get it, man. Every time you climb up and down, it's a lot of, you don't want to forget things. Exactly, Kevin. They are great for running into a door. He says, I do it yourself. Did just use multiple different sizes screws. Just nice to have. My main 7/16. Something out of Kevin there. Cheaper. Let's see here. They are great for running into doors. Let's see here. Whoops, hit the wrong button. The rubber ones from rubber ones. What's the rubber one? I guess I don't know enough about the Horman to. I don't have brochures of the Horman around. Good old Horman. I don't have any brochures. My God, I got it here. What do we got? We have a Series 6000. What do they got here? That's a weird looking bottom retainer. But at least, hey, at least it looks like the bottom retainer is attached. I don't know. Looks about the same to me. They look like doors. Doors. Trying to see. Oh, see, this is what they had. They had such high pitch to them right there. That really, I didn't care for that. I did not care for that whole step in there like that for pinch. Safety first. Safety. Oh yeah, here's the hinges. I got a video, if you look way back, of me installing one out in the boonies, and I was not real impressed because I don't like stuff when I'm out in the boonies to be a problem. Let's see what the old 9000 series has. 9605. So this is newer. Wonderful. Oh, there's your guys' favorite, the Torque Master. Their little bottom with their slide. At least that's a good thing with the 9000 series. At least they attach the, what do we call it? They attach the bottom to it. Tony had my first callback today. Had to reset drums because customer noticed they in the bottom after I changed cables a couple weeks ago. Code 6-inch nut driver set sold at Lowe's. Really? Color code? I don't think I've ever seen those. I don't think I've really ever looked real hard either. Huh. Raynard uses 3/8 screws. So, oh, that's what it is. Yep. Yep. That's what it is. The 3/8 on those. Like I said, I always just know 3/8. I come across once in a while and it seems like half. Most time it seems like it's half. I'm taking out of the nose, especially those old Genie operators. And you obviously really don't need it, but sometimes it's just based when you're in a certain spot, if it just stays in the drill versus a socket and it goes falls to the ground if you're trying to be nimble. I guess it's a Clint Eastwood thing. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. The only problem I ever have with the 6-inch magnet bits, just imagine this. I got one out there. I could always show. The 6-inch ones, they always break because you hit them so hard, with the gun over time. They always snap. So I always make sure I buy two. So if you're going to have the longer ones and you depend on them, you're doing a job far away or just whatever, make sure you got two because they especially when you're doing commercial, especially when you got to get in the track and the inside, it never fails. One of the guys will be doing it. I'll be doing it. It'll break off, and it's like, well, I guess we're done. Where I have actually in a pinch, I bought some different random size too, but that's where this little extension comes in. Get that in there in this kit, and then you also have this kind of gets you out of a. It's not as nice, but it will get you out of a pinch, or get you in a pinch when you gotta fix it like that. Tanner says, "Yeah, I buy the 10-pack Ketis drivers. I found a 10-pack on Amazon that were cheaper. Trying them out. Interesting. That's cool. Uh, I'll probably continue using Lumberyard right now for doors. They are giving me a contractor rate now, and they've been pleasant to work with. Perfect. That's exactly what I like to hear. You know what I mean? That's if that works, you can make a few dollars. I would say the only thing maybe to consider is potentially just remember to at some points, spot check. You know what I mean? Like, um, just don't have the blinders on sometimes because, for instance, with me years ago, like I said, I was exclusively just Wayne Dalton, Wayne Dalton, Wayne Dalton, and all of a sudden it didn't happen right away. It happened, whatever, 3 or 5 years into the business, and I started going to customers, and they're like you're like $400 higher than the other guy. Like, how is that? I'm like, can I see their estimate? And I see their estimate, and I'm like, whoa, I was like, I don't even know how this can be. Well, then I just randomly picked up the phone. I think I possibly called Amar, and they don't even know who I am. I'm just some generic Tom, Dick, and Harry guy. I called them up. They told me a price, and I'm like, what? I'm like you're $300 to $400 cheaper for like a 16x7 door than the place I've been with for years. Like, and I'm, your brain starts thinking all these jobs I've done. I mean, who wouldn't like on a job to make an extra 100, 200, $400? You know what I mean? And I'm like, so I was using them for a little while, and then Wayne Dalton finally, caught wind and lowered me down. So, because my guess is honestly that the lumberyard, obviously they're making money. You know what I mean? And so then for them, they're like, you're kind of a salesman for them. You know what I mean? Because you're going to go out and look for work, and then if you use them, they can just send the product out. It's probably a good relationship, really, though, because like they know you too. And you're buying product. Hopefully, they'll put the word in, and say, "Hey, we got this guy that's been buying doors. If you need somebody, because everybody comes in, right, and they all lean on the desk. Yeah, so busy. I don't know how we're gonna get this door in. And they go, well, actually, I got somebody's number. You might want to try calling. Tanner, Kevin, Emmy would not use multi-driver uh, driver to hardware a hold, or I don't think it would hold up as long. Oh, Rich is the guy here. He says, not a fan. Gotcha. Yeah, I think you're talking about that universal like screwdriver. Yeah, I wouldn't use that for hardware if that's what we're talking about. Good idea, Evan. Once you build relationship with them and sell a few doors, they will start referring you, yep, to customers and contractors, and boom, you're off to the races with clients uh, and a report. Yeah, that's exactly right. You really are. You know what I mean? Because it takes time. You know what I mean? But you go in there. Like I said, if you can get a shirt, make sure you got business cards. Fit the part, tuck the old shirt in if you have to or something. And people love that kind of stuff. They'll eat that up, because you come in the parking lot either and walk in and they're going to be like sitting there talking. I do it all the time where I'm sitting there and I'm like looking at somebody and it's like, hey, for a roofing company? Well, actually, yes, I do. Hey, you work for a power company? Yes, I do. Hey, do you do wells? Do you do concrete? Card, that's how I started out on my own after I left the door company I was working for. Card. Tony says, yeah, no thanks. I don't have to carry more on my truck, different style hinges. Oh yeah, you can have those no pinch. Yeah, yeah. That's kind of how I felt. Like I was, that Horman hinge. I was like, man, if they forget one. And I think one got like stuck in the box under, or I dropped down and I was having like a panic attack. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, I can't even go to Ace Hardware. Like everybody, if you anywhere you go and you tell them I need a garage door hinge, they have the standard garage door hinge in their brain. But you show them a picture of that thing, that Horman, and they're just gonna go, yeah, good luck. What I mean? Have those things. Let's see here. Wayne Dalton plastic hinges. I don't think Wayne Dalton though has plastic hinges anymore. They used to have on those ones, right? I forget what model it was. They're metal, but they got those the little hinges. Yeah, they're not very good. Tony, I slipped the drum and then retightened. Oh, perfect. Sweet. That's awesome. So glad Tanner did that, experienced it. Like I said, the only time I get a little nerve, if I did the install, I'm not so bad. Not a smaller door, but it's like when you get to bigger doors. I don't know. Maybe you guys can comment. What size door would you say you're kind of getting where you don't think you want to slip the drum? Like what size door? Um, because if it's a solid shaft and it's got a adjustable center coupler, obviously you're just going to do the center coupler. But I don't know if there's a certain, see, to me, it's always like when I look at the springs, and then sometimes what I'll do is I'll go over and check it. I'll make sure I give her the old real crank down on it, on the drum that's going to have all tension. Because, basically what happened is it will start spooling and it just makes a gnarly mess out of the shaft. And the poor next guy that's one you don't put your sticker on. Oh, yeah. I carry two on my belt at all times. That's why I buy packs of 10. uh, we just got feel lucky, punk. Oh man, that's awesome. Clint Eastwood thing. I love it. I'm selling the doors that gives me the best price, and right now Invicta anymore. He says it's all about dollar that goes in my pockets. Yep, yep. And I think the thing I could do to that to add to that would be is obviously, um, well, obviously, if you can get the best price and you get a good quality product that you're happy with, you know what I mean? And standard stuff, you know what I mean? Like, you know, weather seal being attached, that's a thumbs up. And standard hinges, that's great. Just basic stuff. I really like simple. Simple is better. Do 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 do. Uh, let's see. The quote I got today asked for a name Steelcraft. That would be the same as damage door. I'm taking this because that's what customer wanted, and every house on this street looks the same and has the same design door. Nice. You know, since Evan's here, cousin Evan, have you seen? Um, I see Tanner set that link, I think, for the thing. But have you? Thank you, by the way. Have you seen increases over there in Canada? I've seen increases over here a little bit with the tariff stuff. Mm, Kevin, yeah, double up on most everything. My tool bag could be 20 pounds later. Busting or losing a tool when you're out in the booms, man, isn't that the truth? When you ain't got, and I'm just that type. I'm a very stickler. You know what I mean? It's like I get into a groove, my screw gun and everything, and it's like muscle memory. So I don't even want to try anything different. You know what I mean? I just like give me the same bit. I just blew it up. Um, I want another one just the same. You know what I mean? I don't want to try nothing new. I mean, I want to use my consistent what was working. I should have added that if the insurance company picks me, do it. Mm, I don't know if he should. It says no, I don't, but I have a man. Says any size with center coupler. Mm, mm, mm. I slip it all the time, like I said, on the adjustable center couplers. You have to touch a center coupler. I bet. I mean, when you do a center coupler, you might be phoning a friend on that one. I see a lot of people that concerns them. Like they're like center coupler. I get it. I never understood how it worked either. They threw me for a loop the first time I started messing with them. But once you understand them, I like them. I think they're great because a lot of like for oil changes and stuff like that. When I take all the center coupler, dump the spring. The other spring can sit there idle. That's under tension. That's when we were doing one spring, which I really don't recommend because, but it's just nice. You can slide it off, put a pair of vice grips or something on the end so they don't pull out your shaft. But uh, once you know how they work, I think they're slick. Especially the worst part always was if you didn't have an adjustable spring head, because then I used to cut them out with sawzall if they didn't knock out the bearing. I think overhead was notorious for that. Tony, right, Dave? I'm not gonna sell junk. Yeah, I think it's like you know, like I said, if the door comes maybe with like slide locks and stuff like that, some of that little stuff. I mean, you can all add that depending on your vendor. Just a matter of like when we were selling Amar, every door, every door came with damage, dents, scratches. We couldn't keep enough touch-up paint, and there's just nothing worse getting to the job, and somebody's just like happy, happy, joy, joy, and they're like, you install something, and they're like, oh, and you're like, yeah, it's got like two dents in it. I'm really sorry. and I got to come back. Do-do-do-do. Right. Evan says, he says, I'll send you the quote. He says, I got today, seen much increase from tariffs, but on today's quote, there is a note regarding the tariffs. Okay, so they're priming the pump, baby. Rich's guy says, I'll slip a 16. I don't think that bothers me too much. I think it all depends if I go over to the other drum. I mean, I feel like when you get like, what is it, over like 3 inch or something, maybe, then it starts getting to be a little bit like, yeah, there's a lot of stress on that one side. I don't know if I want to gamble with that. Um, it all depends. You know what I mean? I'll slip it, just spin her a little bit. She'll whoop. A lot easier than taking it all apart, spinning the shaft or moving everything over to half meat, you know. Yeah, that's about I that's a good one. That's a good one. I agree with Tanner, right? Touching for a couple is like touching your first boob. It's the best. Yep, it's close. It's close. It's if it's not right there, it's just a notch under. You know what I mean? It is once you understand it and you mess with it and you know how to manipulate it, it's good. It's good. Rich, yeah. It was, I know what the first experience is like. Oh my gosh. Oh man. I know. I know. It was a good one. It was a good one. It was a good one. That was a good one. There's guy says the coupler is slightly better in my opinion. I could tell it's a hell of a lot cheaper. You'll stay out of trouble more, that's for sure. You know, uh, that's all those dates and child support. It's a lot safer. Because that's it still might be cheaper even if you lose a finger. I don't know, depending on how bad it goes. How much you hook up with. That's for sure. Dun-dun-dun. Tanner says now, are you first coupler or your first? Oh, or your first. I get it. I get it. I've seen some big couplers or couples. Oh man, that's great. That's great. It's too bad Evan's not closer. It'd be sweet to, run up and help. Couplers can be pretty exciting. So, oh, those boobs. Oh man, gotta. Uh, I haven't gotten that far, I haven't. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. That is crazy. What time is it? We're getting close there. We're getting closer. Like I said, big old Easter. Hopefully, everybody's gonna be able to get their food, their Easter eggs. You'd be in big trouble. Big trouble. I think I ran out of juicy. Let me check here. It says it's full. All that good stuff. Let's see here. Big in trouble. I'll plug this because this ain't sure no more. I think Tony has too had to work. I don't know if Evan did that today or not. Did that coupler or not the coupler, but the drum. Fix the drum. Ah, what else can I put this? Put it back over here. What's he got there? Oh, dang. Another one? Holy cow. Gonna be popping them out. Tell you what, though, the kids, honestly, if it was me, and I could do it over again, I'd just get the kids right out of the way. You know what I mean? I just kind of stack them. Because once you kind of have that gap, it's kind of weird. You know, they work with each other. I would just stack them. I've been telling everybody that, you know, or just do whatever normal, 6 months, a year apart or something, just so they're kind of close. Luckily, my two older ones, they pair my third one, but she's kind of independent, and she's smart though. She's a smart cookie, but you know, I have that sidekick, kind of like the other ones do. Ugh, but they're fun. They are fun. There's no doubt about that. Are in the gutter now. It's a rich guy in the boat. That's right. Tony says congrats. Thanks, Tony. Was it says found out Tuesday? Nice. Yeah, congrats. I think about Builder. He always does. You know, I haven't quite. It does seem like as they get older, he goes, they cost more. There you go. Pray for twins. Oh shoot. Get a boy out of it. At least I'm set with the girls. I should be taken care of hopefully as an old man. I'm getting there pretty fast. That's for me. Says for me, not my wife. Oh, that's true. And you can put them to work at the same time. There you go. It's never too late. Oh man, I don't know. I don't know. I guess if it ever kind of happen to happen, but it's I think it was one of my uh what was it? It was one of my friends. It's one of my friends that his brother, and he's like a real how to describe it? He's like one of those really like he's just one of those like bad to the bone dudes. You know what I mean? Like he's got a sweet truck, he's got the sweet motor home, got a place in Florida, got a place up in Silver Lake, got a place in just all over the place, right? And um, I was always surprised. He had two girls. And I was just like, man, I can't believe he, you know. But it's kind of funny, like looking back a little bit, where you kind of go like, I guess I can kind of see because um, it's like as I've gotten older, um, uh, you know, it's how do I explain it? It's you know, it's like I love the kids, but man, they are expensive. By the time you start, you know, there's the schooling and braces, you know, some kind of health issues and you know, glasses or whatever, you know, just the list goes on and on. And then you realize like vehicles, like maybe some of the little bit older guys, a little bit, right? Like some of these families, like I was talking to an Amish guy, you know, and now he's ex-Amish, but he's got six kids, and I'm just like, I think the couple were adopted, but I was just like, how you? And he had a full size one of the Nissan, I forget what they're called, NUs or whatever. So you know, he's like, he's got a church, you know what I mean, like vehicle, like he, you know, so it's like once you get like three, you're kind of if you know, in my opinion, right, if you want to be in the truck world, it ain't gonna happen, you know what I mean? Like they don't fit. Uh, already got Tanner says too late for me since I already got grandkids. I can't be having no more kids. uh, I think you got a few more in you. Yeah, my aunt had a kid at 5. It was nuts, he says, and not expected. Yeah, I mean it's you know. Um, I don't know. It's just something about, like I said, I still linger on that whole thing. Like I said, once I hit 40, at least for me, it was like the whole spectrum changed. You know what I mean? Like I understand why I don't know how you say it, like kind of like self-made entrepreneurs and the mega people, like the Henry Ford or the Kentucky Fried Chicken guy. Like we've all seen the things, right? And a lot of these people are over 40, somewhere in their 50s, somewhere in their 60s. Um, like I said, it always kind of struck home to me where when, wife trauma told me, she's like, oh, you're over the hill. And I'm like, no, I'm like 50's over the hill. And she's like, no, 40. I'm like, dang. I mean, I don't know if that was the sucker punch, where it's kind of, you start really like realizing like, wow, man, like, um, I've been really, really, really busting my ass. And, uh, it's not long, you know what I mean? And poof, um, you know, and so I don't know. That's just me. Uh, Emma Papatori, Picone of this group. There you go. This is my uncle had 4 kids, and I thought that was a lot. 4 kids. Yeah. I was just watching something today, and there was, I keep hearing through the grapevine that they're talking about um, the population is down. And that was part of the reason why a lot of the immigrants and stuff, to some degree. But I could see why, man. It's tough. It's tough. I see why some people don't decide not, you know, um, to have kids. You know what I mean? I could see, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's good though. I mean, I'm not saying that bad. It's just, but when it adds up. You know what I mean? And yeah, we have a family. At church has 10 kids. None are adopted. Wow, wow. I have two buddies, and I got to get along with who have 5 kids. Wow, gotta get big old suburban. Suburban. I don't know how much you can even like. Because like for me now, like up age, right? Like what happens a lot is, um, like if you try to do um, like a family event, it's like, holy crap, man, we need a bigger vehicle. Like you need I think of like the Chevy Express vans. Like you need that. Or they have a friend over, right? You get, 2 friends. I mean, then you got what is it? Was it three, four, five? There's five. You're maxed out. That's not even bringing luggage. You know what I mean? Like even for me, probably if the old Nissan, we had to do a couple family events in that and talk about like I could tell the kids are they're getting at that age where it's like they're like, and so we're gonna I'm probably gonna have to go something bigger, a little bit bigger. I want to because I like the fuel mileage and stuff, but I don't think my I don't think my parents would be happy if I had kids while still under the roof. Nah, like I said, I've always kind of said this has been my weird opinion. Like I've been telling is, um, I guess where's the cap? What is it? Probably for the female. What is it? What is it? 25 to 35 is kind of the zone for, the children stuff, birthing and all that. But I was telling I was telling somebody, I said I honestly wouldn't even probably really do anything serious until I was 25. I don't know what it is. I felt like for me, 25 was um, I guess like where I felt like I was a little more understanding and understand like uh, life is not like a box of chocolate. You know what I mean? Like it just, I don't know, something about 25. And because, when you get out of school and stuff like that, you start realizing like the girls that were popular or the boys that were popular, like they're not so popular anymore, or things shift and people's health and all kinds of different things. And you can see how. women handle themselves. Like my old business partner ended up getting through a, went through a divorce, and then um, he kept bragging about this girl, but she hadn't hit 21. This is obviously many, many years ago. And I just kept thinking, you don't know, you don't know. When she hits 21, she might be wanting to tip the bottle. I don't know. And somehow she got in trouble. She was hanging out at the bars, and she got, basically an affair. And there was another kid on the way, and that was horrible. You know what I mean? For him to be like, I hope it's not mine. And it's like, ooh, and then blood blood test came back, it was his. And I'm just like, why would you do that? But yet she was so great on every other level, but didn't last. Dun-dun-dun. Evan, I think you should find out. There you go. Tony says, yeah, Evan, probably not. Uh, I think the biggest thing, especially when you're young, um, you know, uh, it's one of those things like Evan, God bless you for being here and everything. But sometimes for the younger guys, try to pick on you. This is in abroad. It's 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 easy to get sucked in. You know what I mean? And that's why, like, I'll just put it out. Like, if I was a young man, I'd be definitely consider buying a you know some kind of used vehicle, right? Maybe it's a van, maybe something that can be used for dual purpose in a sense. And then, like, this is just me. Like, we need a correction, I believe, right? Like, houses are just outrageous. So if it was me, I would be trying to find either, especially like, um, it's such a gift, right? In both ways, but it's such a gift when you don't have the bearing of kids, right? Men don't need much, you know what I mean? And even the women, um, and they're not having to take care of children and stuff like that, they don't really need as much either, right? But once the kid stuff happens and all that, then it's a whole different ball game. But like for instance, like the shop, um, it's funny to some people. I used to work out of a trailer right out here, right? But you do what you got to do to get where you want to get. You know what I mean? You have to. What is it? You have to do what others are not willing to do, so you can do what others won't achieve later on. Something like that. But like for me, I was telling like Caleb, I said I'd be fine. And there's so many of these man condos or whatever they call them, popping up. I said, some of them are around 650, 700 bucks. Some of them up to 1,200 bucks. I did look the other day and I did not see it. Now it's not to say they don't have mailboxes right at the units. I don't know. But I told him, I said, dude, I said I'd be looking for something like that. I said because that way you have options, right? Like whatever you do right now, and this is just my opinion, right? That's if you want to be serious, you know what I mean, and you really really want to get out of a job or have the freedom, like you need options. So if you have something like that, that's a building, now you don't have to take care of the grass. Now you don't have to snowplow. Like that is freeing up your time. But when you go into a house, what do they say? What is a mortgage? You're a debt to the lender, but you're a slave. I think this is what mortgage stands for. And don't get me wrong, everything's a balance, but it also sinks you in so deep, um, because then there's now you gotta, like these are all the things I never thought about, like, now you gotta fix the roof, you gotta plow the driveway, you gotta cut the grass, and um, and it seems kind of fun. Like when I was young, it was, but it was also slowing me down. You know what I mean? For other stuff that could have been making me baby money. So um, I look at everything as like a tool. How is it going to bring money in? You know what I mean? So with a man condo, in a sense, with my brain, it's very low maintenance. You pay something, and guess what? If as of right now, if you buy a house or something, you don't own it anyways. You're going to put a mortgage on it. You're going to probably pay twice the amount, whatever you pay. and then you have to pay unrealized gains in a sense, right? Because your taxes keep bump, up, 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 up. And right now, things are so crazy that scares the crap out of me, even, right? Because you have taxes that you cannot control. Yes, you can go fight them, whatever. They always keep throwing this whole thing. Well, your neighbor's house sold for 100,000 more than yours. It glorious? Not really. I plan on living here for 5, 10, 20 years, the rest of my life. And so you're paying these taxes that are bumping up. Your insurance goes goofy, you know what I mean? So basically, it's sometimes better to have the freedom. I mean, is what I'm trying to say. So you have to be really, really smart. And then obviously, if you do like a lease or something, you can easily pick up and leave. You know what I mean? If that's your desire, and that's just what I'm more talking to myself, is what I'm saying here. Now you're not building. I get that, but it all depends on what you want to do. Because even if you buy a fixer upper, you know what I mean? Unless it's like a duplex, and then you can rent out the other side. I think it's just nothing but a money pit. That's why the biggest thing you'll ever learn in life, right, is always say you have to think about what is an asset and what is liability. Liability takes money out of your pocket, and an asset makes you money. And unfortunately, a house right out of the get go typically don't. You know what I mean? Because unless you start fixing it. But in my case, I remember all the houses I've dealt with over the years. And when I was first starting out, you buy what you basically can. So you're already kind of stretched, but then it's all of a sudden, boom, you got to put a $30,000 roof on the place. And you can't really you can't finance it. You know what I mean? I mean, you can, there's probably certain things you could pull equity and stuff, but it's a big, maybe you got to buy some windows. I mean, a lot of stuff happens so rapidly. You don't have the money, you know what I mean? So, um, that's why I'm already preparing in a nutshell for some of my kids to stay longer because I see it across the board. I got fancy friends, coworkers, stuff like that. I see all across the board these kids are staying longer, and I can't blame them. I really can't. I look at what the stuff. I mean, what it cost. Like I said, from 2017, that house I looked at, 2017, 70,000 to this current to date right now, they went from 70 to 300,000. What in the flip are they smoking? I'm just like, and like I said, this is not like a house on a lake. There's nothing special about this. They maybe put up some fence, they put up some paint, they did a little remodel, nothing major. And I'm just like, uh, with the interest rates too. All I gotta do is watch that minority mindset guy, and he'll tell you all about it. I mean, it's gone up like 100%. Some of the stuff's 300%. It's just like, I don't know about you guys, but like I said, my pay has not doubled or tripled. So probably not. I'd rather not. It says we should buy a house within the next. Whoops, dang it, stop. 2 years. Uh, Travel, get married, travel. See, no, that's the thing I see out here. I used to think the same thing, but money will hold you back. That's the problem. I'm not saying it absolutely will, but um, you know, like I said, it normally doesn't happen. You know what I mean? Because it's just now you're trapped. So it depends on what and like I said, I'm not trying to steer anybody. I'm just telling you, I know what I did, and you know, like your demographics and stuff you get planted in, things like that. So just the biggest thing is like I don't know what it is about society. There's a lot of push. It's kind of like when you get out of school, right? I always remember like graduation that they're always like, "What are you going to do? When do you go to college?" And I always told myself, I'm like, "Why would I go to college for something I don't even know what I want to do? I don't know." I always still joke to this day. I don't know what I want to do when I grow up. You know what I mean? And but I can tell you one thing: there is absolutely one thing I thoroughly enjoy and I like and I want. And I want for you guys, I want it for yourself. That's everybody's dream is different, but I want freedom. Freedom, freedom, and more freedom. That's what I want. But everything you bring into your life is you're a slave, you know what I mean, too. That's the problem. And obviously we can't live under bridges, but it's just everything you consume. You want to buy a boat, you got to wax the boat, you got to store the boat, you got to take care of the boat. You got to bring the boat to the boat dock or whatever, or it doesn't matter. It just and the way I keep seeing things, I just go, wow, that's a pretty hefty price to pay. Tony says you're using the right head. uh, multiply, multiply. That's the biggest thing because we're not trained, from school and that how um, I always call it make baby money. It's super tough to not be a consumer. It is really, really tough. Mm, Evan's got two more financially. Church, Rich B's got, yeah. Like I said, kids are good. It's just, um, like, I'm like so far over. So, like, here's an example, right? It's funny because I'm on my second marriage, and my first one. Um, so I'm weird, and you guys are all, how it is. You're entitled to your own opinion. This is just my opinion. And so my first marriage, right? Luckily for me, I gave it time, right? For some reason, I don't know why I had the notion back then, but I was in, I rushed the marriage a little bit, right? But I remember when I got married, I told him, it was one of those I will never ever get divorced, right? Because I came from a divorced family, and so it's really tough on you. And time went on. She was working a job, I was working a job, and we were consuming things, right? Had the camper, had the wave runners, had the big diesel truck, had the snow plow. I mean, just all kinds of bells and whistles, right? And what happened is obviously as I consumed a lot more stuff, I realized that I couldn't enjoy my stuff, right? Um, I couldn't enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like I'm always working on the stuff and I got the weekend, but that's such a limited amount of time. I have to get down just the right time and I have to wait for a holiday weekend and stuff like that. And so I realized I couldn't enjoy the stuff, so I ended up selling some of it. But anyways, married the first round. But then I started noticing things, right? Because it's really good, and like I said, just my opinion. I think it's really good to live with somebody. I might be messing this up a little bit. It's good to live with somebody or possibly marriage. You know what I mean? I know that's against a lot of people's stuff, but I just because people are different, right? So, anyways, now we've come together. We get married. We're living. We're just we're the American dream. And I start realizing that I come home from night and I'm working three jobs. I got like two part time, one time, and like dishes aren't getting done, just little stuff. I mean, and I'd ask, and it's always well, school. I had homework. I got to do stuff. Well, okay, that when she gets that job, they're our life, right? So I can't really bash that. But then all it took was one night, and there was multiple. It was I went to Little Caesars. Everybody knows Little Caesars, right? I went during lunch hour, had a boogie over there. You only get twice. So I had a boogie over there. I got my pizza. Well, the girl there knew my ex, and she said something to me about. She says, "Oh yeah, I seen your wife or whatever. I seen her at the bar," and I'm like, now I knew she had a couple of younger boys and there was nothing, as far as I ever knew, ever funny going on. She just wanted something out with. She liked to kind of be popular or something. Just maybe want to be alone. Always wanted to be accepted, type of thing, right? And so I remember she. So I didn't that didn't really rub me the right way. Someone really busted my hiney. And so I went back and I asked her that night. I said, "Hey, the other night you said you were just home doing," and I getting multiple lies is what I'm getting at. This wasn't just one thing. I never wanted to do her a fight. You know what I mean? So I talking to her one night. I said, "Hey, I think things. We're watching a movie. Shut it off. Just we got to talk." One thing led to another. We decided mutually that was better for us. But that turned into a bloodbath, right? In a sense, it wasn't. We were mutual on it, but I couldn't refinance the house. It was on a commercial piece of property. It was a real pain, so I never did. And she ended up not paying student loans. So that stuff went south. It was ruined. It ruined my credit was ruined. So for God's sakes, for one thing, what you don't do is don't be a damn signer. And so that ruined me. I went years. I'd go to the bank. I'd show them all my paperwork, and they go, "Yeah, your credit's no good." And I go, but I paid my gas bill, but I paid my house payment, and they just saw credit shot. And so it took many years to finally get that cleared up. Her mom, may she rest in peace. She ended up paying her 401k out, paying. She had one with her mom, one with her grandma, one with me. All of them ranging about 30,000 apiece. Student loans that she never went to school or used. She eventually started down the road using something, but it was not the exact. It's always like a notch below or so. So that was fun. So that's why I sometimes talk about like if you a little bit older, more mature type stuff, it seems to work. That's what I tell some younger guy. I say, don't. Hey, right now, um, they're getting to the water out there. You know what I mean? The real water, and there's just going to be some that break up and all that kind of stuff, but it's complicated. It's very difficult, and I'm very lucky for my wife. Now I love her to death. She's a great person, and but it's very challenging. You guys know what I'm talking about. It's very tough, and I just look at it differently. And personally, my wife agrees with me now, which is weird. We actually think there's more tax advantages to not be married. For instance, one was first time home buyer, right? They bring that every once in a while through our government, our banks, and that. And what's happening, we were probably 3 years or maybe or so into our marriage, and I was like, dang it, honey. I said, if we weren't married, I said, you would qualify for a first time home buyer. And I said, you get the discount. And, so, um, I'm kind of two different ways. I think there's kind of the marriage through, through the spiritual way. And then there's like the state way. And I'd rather go the spiritual way, to be honest, looking at it. But kind of weird how she changed her mind over time. Tanner says they do have a Chevy Express Duramax passenger van, so I'm working on. The wife is that every day. Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's so cool. Holy cow, sneaked up there. He says I waited till 33. He says I wanted everything paid for it, figured out. My wife said enough after I kept buying stuff and another business. So it's time to start pumping them out. Sacrificing. Yeah, they add up, man. Bought the house for 70K. Started at 20K. Uh, Lots of work. Brother, wife did. It's nice to know you build houses. We fix it up and add attached garage bigger than the house. So I won't buy a boat. He says I'll be a friend with someone with the boat. There you go. That's the way. That's the way to do it. And like I said, everybody's it's one of those things. Like I said, I'm not trying to be Debbie Down. It's just everybody's opinion. Everybody's situation is different. Because like I kind of think about with Tanner, it's not bad. Um, uh, buy a house and then basically do value add. You know what I mean? That's a good thing because the house is probably from value. Now, if it's something where you're going to go there and you kind of got it figured out where you'll be there for 2 years and you don't have to pay capital gains on it, and you're fixing it up. Sometimes, I guess basically what it is just don't bite off more than you can chew, right? That's the thing. You got to have money. You got to have some slush money to put the roof on it, to do the windows, to redo the driveway. There's a lot that goes in because what was it? My first one was 82K is what I paid for. And I think we were oh, we ain't gonna be there that long. Well, we ended up being there for about 5, 6 years. So way longer than what I thought. I'm going to always be here a couple years. And the clock, man, in life moves so fast. It's not even funny how fast the clock moves. And when you're young though, it never moves fast enough. Oh, I just can't wait till I'm 21. I can't wait till I'm 18. I can do my I can't till you know and what I was trying to explain to one gentleman is I said I had all that stuff too. I said, but the problem was, I said, there's one thing that will restrain you that you don't think about. I said, think about it right now. I said, as of right now, why don't you just go on a vacation? Why don't you take a week off? Just take a week off. Go on that 1,000 or 2,000 or $5,000 drive, or 5,000 mile drive. Just go. Well, I can't. I don't really have the money. Exactly. And that's how you'll feel through every stage in life, right? You get the house, now your money poor, or house. I mean, unless you obviously add value and stuff and trickle, it's not bad. Just when I look at it, like for me, I always wish I would have went to like a duplex. And then what I would have done is, I would have kept it, just moved on to another one, and then compound on that and the bigger stuff. Um, instead of, like some of the houses I've gotten rid of, I always kind of was like, oh shucks, but I've had some too that I know are not good. They're not good rentals. And as a young man, I'd be busting out as many get rentals, Airbnbs if you find something at a good price you could do. Um, because I just think there's so much uh, value, in the real estate stuff. You know what I mean? Where we have to work so hard for our active, and then there's all these ripples, right? All these turmoils. Truck breaks down. You got to get a new truck because you gotta look good for the customer. Um, you got to buy the tools to make your job better, easier. Uh, it must be the church. Something's going on. It says I got Grandpa's fishing boat when he passed. It's perfect. So it says all set. Oh, is that supposed to be? Is that a treadmill or trail? Was it say trail run? Uh, what's this say? And I think it was our accountant that told me parents to get divorced on paper uh, for tax. I think it was the accountant that told my parents to get divorced on paper for tax benefits. So and says so he brings that up, and that brings something up in my brain, right? I went to an older couple one time, and I was working on the garage door, and I remember that lady telling. She says, they had a place in Arizona, and they had a place up here in Michigan, and she told me, she says, she goes, and, car insurance is way cheaper in Arizona, and I'm like, why don't you just make that your homestead? And she goes, can't. And she says, we can only have one or whatever. And I said, well, I said, get divorced, and that's his homestead, and this is your homestead. And she was just like, she's like, that's what I was saying. She's like, but he won't do it, And I'm thinking, hey, man, you know what I mean? And even when I talked to my bankers one time, um, she had a real thorough conversation with me, and she told me, she said, she goes, we've been married. She says, we've been married for, 20 years. And she goes, we actually have separate accounts. And I'm like, really? And she goes, yeah. She says, because she says, if something would happen to me, she goes, I get in a car accident or anything, I get sued or something, just whatever. She goes, I can't touch his account. But if it's joined, she goes, they can go after that account too. They can, take money, blah, blah. And I'm just like, wow, like this is a banker lady that's knows the system that's telling me. So that's why a lot of things are very skewed out there. You know what I mean? So um, I mean it's kind of the same concept what I used to do like with eBay stuff, right? I'd always have a separate that way if something got hacked, it was like, haha, sucker, you only got 1,000 bucks. That's all that's in the account versus 5,000 maybe in my joint or my account personally. You know what I mean? So it makes sense. It's just a lot of times when you're young, you haven't gotten burned, and that's why I'm here. At least I'm trying, or at least for the future, or for my generation of kids. This is what I'm always trying to teach them, because uh, yeah, you that's a lot of people just don't get it. A lot of people don't understand. When you get your social security number, that's your business. You're already a business. You're already an entity. You're already basically an employee. You know what I mean? That's what that is. Sad, but it's true. We are absolutely for we are absolutely for being married. It should be the other way around. Yeah, like I said, marriages. I have two ways I look at marriage. Like there's the spiritual, there's with me and my wife and God, and then there's the government. And then so like, like I was telling my one family member, um, I was telling him, I said, I said, it's no different than right now. I said, I'm married. I said, but it doesn't mean um that I can't do. malicious things behind the scenes. You know what I mean? That's up to me and to be a good person and to so like I said, that's why I never know. I always kind of think about it like this way, like I never know what happens in your bed between you and your couple, right? Like that's when the deepest, wow, that's a true person, right? That's uh like nobody understand, you know what I mean? Like when you're talking about finances, you're talking about purchasing something, you're talking about a passing, a death, religion. There's just so many things that they just don't teach you, about. That's the real life, and you have to be kind of a lone wolf to some degree. Top's leaking. Tony says, "So true, Tanner. Y'all are making me cry on prices. Was it you paid for your first house? Oh, I know. That's why I said it's just and the thing is like north the amortization of a house. You basically pay double. Over I don't know what they do in Canada. If they do like a 30-year, kind of like they do in the States, and I just the way prices are right now. I couldn't encourage. I just could not encourage somebody unless it's going to be like um, I was telling Mr. Caleb, I was telling him I was like I even told him if you could buy a shed that's in the regulations of whatever township and stuff you could do. I said I'd buy a shed. I said, I'd buy a shed if you really want to be out in a shed. Buy a shed. I buy me some solar panels. I'd just get me a John for the time being, depending where it's at. If it's in certain country area and stuff, you want to dig yourself a little pit and have a porta john in there. But it's too expensive. And like I said, it never stops. By the time you start getting, just like us, right? I'm sure everybody, I haven't heard anybody on the channel or in my life or any customer ever go, my electric bill's going down. It's always because you're always consuming more. The bill's always going up, 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 and that's why I kind of always like gasoline for your car. Like I'm always kind of like I always like gasoline, right? Because that I can control. I can decide if I don't want to drive unless you're going to work and stuff. But like I paid for it, I'm done with it. And then I look at my gas gauge and I go, ooh, you know what? This weekend we better not just go out, Jordan. I only got a half a tank, and I want that to get through the week. But when it comes to your gas, natural gas, typically electric, you just consume it, and then whatever the bill is, you pay it, right? Um, so that's always kind of crummy. So it just adds up. You ain't lying, Dave. The clock moves fast. It does, man. It's like I said, it just goes faster and faster. What you get when you're young, it wouldn't go fast enough. And then now it's like you watch your children, you watch just that's why they always say, grow weed. Tanner says, yes, it's my house I'm looking to get is 270. And that's cheap at the lakes. He says it's nice. It's all about who we know. He says I do have a few things to it. He says and I'm hoping uh, build our house. See, like it's kind of weird. Like uh, I don't know what it is, but for me, I definitely there's only one I would do, which would be like Lake Michigan, because I think it's very it reminds me of like an ocean and the noise that comes off. It's very soothing. But I got two family members, and they're I don't want to say like easy scores, but they'd easily be lined up. But it's like one of those things. Like I'm really weird. Like um I don't like the lake. I don't know what it is. I like visiting them, right? But for one, the property taxes are quite a bit. For two, I don't. I'm kind of weird. Like I don't like. I can't really like go around the side of the house and take a pee. Like in normally lakes, there's always like it's always, you know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of and seawalls. Seawalls get me a little bit too because I had a family member that did one, and I was like, well, how long does that seawall last? And he's like, basically like 30 years. I'm like, 30 years? And I'm like, how much did you pay? It was quite a big chunk of money. And I'm like, this thing should outlast. I don't like stuff that gets in that gray area. It scares me a bit. Obviously if you're selling though, it's no big deal. But they are pretty. But boy, it's always funny how the lakes, right? Those houses, man, the front side's always windy, the back side's nice and calm. They're a different animal. they're so pricey, like the taxes on them get you. But they're good. They're good. They're nice. They're beautiful. Uh, And then my first rental home, I paid 4,000. My second, I paid 10. Oh my gosh. There were 200, he says, in rent in the last 20 years. Nice. Let's see. What's 20? Yes, you kids today, they gonna have it tough buying homes. I'm really happy to at least hear Tony. Because like I said, I'm not gonna pick out, but I got certain family members that are, Tony's age, let's just say, just a slightly older than me. And they I don't think they have their eyes open. Just you know how it was, Dave, you had, you just have to down and I'm like, to some degree, but um like let me give you an example. And I get a lot of um this is my opinion, right? So don't sue me, bro. But I think a lot of things are tied to money. And I think that's why the progression has gotten worse, basically from 1971. Think about 1971. Think about how long it takes, right? I mean, everything takes time, right? Like right now, like Mr. T moved in the house, right? It's not like boom, everything's boom. Is it going to probably get there? Sure, it could. It's just it takes time, right? It doesn't happen overnight. Anyways, 1971 came, and I always noticed, like as a kid, I used to ride with my dad and stuff. We'd go up north, right? And people, there was just a lot more plethora, right? Cabins getting worked on, roofs and siding, and that was their second or third cottage, just and over the years, as you go up to deer camp, you watch stuff just slowly diminish. And the kids didn't want deer camp. The kids didn't want to take care of the houses, the buildings, and it's always been, my dad's always told me, like a lot of this stuff was always just given to the kids. All they have to do is pay property taxes. But there's a lot that goes into it, and you start looking at, to take care of your own household and then try to have, what we always talk about is kind of disposable income. A lot of people don't have a lot of disposable income. And so it's slowly, the money has been eroded, I believe. And that's why, like, the thing that always clicked with me, gasoline hasn't really changed. Yeah, I mean, they put ethanol in it now, so it has. But what I'm saying is gasoline, right? A gallon is a gallon. And a gallon is what you need to put in your car to make your car go down the road. But gasoline it used to be 30, 50 cents. Well, how much is it now? Right. And even though you got maybe cars that get better gas mileage, it's still a lot of money, and you think about it per gallon. So that's the way I always look at things. Like Menards was always, we always say that's the $100 store. Well, now it feels more like the $300 store. Like you can't go in there without spending $100. That's that's why you got to imagine like the money nowadays too, right? Like $100 is going to be like a $1 bill in another 5 or 10 years. You're going to go in there, and buy, and you're going to be how many? It's going to be $200. Okay, you know. uh, 10 years ago, he says I was just a small town boy to move to the big city to go to high school and not be uh, related to half I was there. Let's see here. Says, yeah, I was never supposed to be involved again. Always wasn't there. Cut for for doing nothing. Yeah, yeah. That's why, like I said, it's like you gotta. We had a property that was I didn't want it to like got natural gas. Everything in the house. There was only one thing. It was a furnace that ran on natural or gas. And I had to think about it. They're going to charge you like it was like $8,200 to run the line. It's not far. And I started thinking about it. And I thought, the problem is during the whole off seasons and summer months, you're going to pay a hookup fee. And I think about it here, even at the shop. If we bring natural gas in here, there's going to be a fee every month that they're going to get you for it. Might be 20, might be 30, might be $4. But when you think about it, when you start really thinking about it, how are you going to make $40? And then that stuff all you got $40 here for this, you got a subscription for this, you got your electric, like what was I just seen something. I was looking at a car and I thought, oh, see, that's how they're going to get you. I know they've been talking about with cars, but it was a rental company. What they'll do is they were going to charge you for the subscriptions of certain things. Like if you wanted like the GPS to work, that was an extra 20, $40, for maybe a week rental or something. And I was just like, oh, see how everything's starting to play in their favor when they, these car manufacturers, now they can control it too through the rental companies. You want that nice GPS to work? Well, you got to make sure we'll activate it for Sirius XM radio. That was another one you could pay to have them. I think there was one more. I don't want to say it was a heated seats, but it was something like that. Maybe I don't remember what, but you know, da-da-da. That's why I always felt like I really got burned when they had the Sally Mae, the student loan stuff. That's with my ex-wife. That I was a co-signer in a sense. I was only co-signer for one though. The other three were whatever. Like she signed them. I thought I was gonna have to after her on that. But when I went to an attorney and I was gonna file bankruptcy, I didn't know what to do. I mean, this thing's out of my control. And the attorney just sitting there and he goes, I can get rid of everything. I can get rid of your house, I can get rid of your car. He goes, but there's one thing I can't get rid of. And he goes, it's this Sally Mae student loan debt. And I remember that was a light bulb moment to me. That was like, and he just blatantly told me the government gets paid. And I said, and I'm just like, well, I don't want to get rid of my house, and I just want this student loan crap to go away. And I remember a real um, resentful taste because I went to, like I think they confuse you like in movies and on TV, right? Like the illusion that you could go to a small bank and you could get your little John Deere tractor or get your old pick 'em up truck and the American Dream and the white picket fence. And I remember I was going to these banks, just like I said, they look at the TransUnion, there's two other ones, and they go, we can't do nothing for you. Your credit's shot. And and I was struggling, man. I was struggling, starting a business. I just, like I said, rented out first house, my personal house, lived in the garage, and the renter filed bankruptcy. Didn't think much of it. I got a letter of it. Finally, all of a sudden, I'm in. She's not paying. I see her in the grocery store. I said, "Hey," I said, "What's well, here's a business. Here's a card. You need to talk to my call the attorney. Oh yes, you do not talk to my client." Well, it's kind of hard. We're on the same property, and I remember they were in there they got like 90 days, and I tell you what, the house needed new windows, and I never was gripping a big heart in that garage. And I kept thinking, I'm not personally evicting her, but she's going to freeze. And then I screwed up because that was my first screw up. I didn't change the utilities over into her name. So on top of her not paying me rent, getting the utilities, getting a whatever $200, $300, $400 gas bill, and not getting any money in. So life knows how to neuter you. It will neuter you. What's it say here? In my state, it says you have to pay tax to transfer titles uh, when purchasing a house. Hmm. I'm assuming though you have, every year or every month or every like for us we have winter, we have summer taxes. Uh, Tanner says anything federal. He says I think we needs for state just to help with roads, schools, other things used, but keep practices as pay was. Oh man, I'd love that, but that's never going to happen. It's just not, unfortunately. I wish it would, but people get money. I mean, we've still got villages and stuff going on right now, and they just blow it, man. They don't run it like a business. They blow it, and then if they don't use it, they lose it. Learned that when I used to work for the DPW. I remember I left. I'm like, I mean, we got three guys riding around in a truck. going on overpasses, bridges, getting out of the truck on third shift, rubbing our feet on the overpass. Does it feel slippery? No, I don't feel too slippery. Just a little. Try over here. No, it's just rain. You know what I mean? And I'm riding around. I'm like, this is boring as crap. We go back. We already cleaned out all the troughs and stuff where the water drains in. We're in there telling around stories. It's like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm just like, oh, I'm like, dang, dude. Like 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, man. I gotta start getting stuff ready for business. I got so many jobs I gotta do. I can't just sit here. You know what I mean? And so I lived 3 minutes down the road. I told the guys, I said, look, if it starts snowing, I'll have my phone on the top volume. I call me, I'll come right back. Next day comes, the boss guy that was, who's the leader that night, tells me, he goes, hey man, he goes, the boss man, he don't want you leaving. I'm like, why not? I'm saving you guys money. I'm not just sitting here on payroll. No. He needs you here because they got to use payroll. Because if they lose it or if they don't use it, they lose it. And I'm like, so I got to stay here and just like, if we don't have snow that night, how boring is this? You know, Tony, same thing here. Evan, come on. He says 23. What do we got here? Watching. He says 10. Maybe we'll get it. What's this say? Was wanting to charge a subscription for heated seats. I don't know if they ever went through with it. I felt like they kind of did, and then they kind of way. Rich has got sounds like John Deere. John Deere, yeah, they got a whole bunch of mess of stuff they're doing. The right to repair crap is in effect. I mean, like I said, common. It's common. It's just like with the garage door openers. That stuff's all coming. They're gonna make it. They'll probably make it like a subscription or something where you got to be, um, you know, like, oh, you want tech support? Like you have to pay us $300 a month or whatever to get that tech support. Otherwise, you're gonna have to call an authorized user. I mean, that's how they're working. That's why they're trying to get with the cameras and they're trying to get subscriptions. You know what I mean? Tony says I wouldn't be buying a BMW then. I know. Well, then it's like if you take it a step farther, right? Wasn't it General Motors? They backed up, weren't they? Taking that information and they were giving it to your insurance, that data off your vehicle. Um, I think uh, they got so much stuff. It just keeps coming. They keep forcing it, and that's why I kind of laugh to myself when we get people or whatever, and it's like to some degree, right? Because like I said, when you it's as far as I can think of it, right? Everything, everything is controlled by money. Like I'm so charges, well, they probably do, right? Charges for air, they get taxes on the property and taxes out of us. But it's just it's like when I'm using an extreme example, but like when people talk about gasoline or diesel and they go, I will never drive electric. I go, bullshit, bullshit. Because I go, the reason is I go, when gas is $200 a gallon, you you'll be driving electric. I'll be driving electric. And so it's out of our control. You know what I mean? That's why, like, think about it now, right? Like, kerosene is pretty farce. It's not around as much as it used to be, right? Kerosene was what, a byproduct of gasoline or something. They used to dump the crap basically down in the rivers. And now it's like you got to pay whatever, 4, 6, $10 a gallon for the stuff. And, but there's not much things that run kerosene, torpedoes and stuff like that. But that's why it's always like, you just never know. You just know. Now, hopefully, obviously, uh, it is amazing how fast things have turned around with the whole electric stuff. And I'm not. It's not that I'm, opposing it. I just, I don't know. Like I said, sometimes I try to think you're going to vote, but I think there's just so many. Sometimes I just think there's so many dumb people that they just it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They will do it. You know what I mean? They're going to do it regardless, which is sad. Do 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 do. So they would have me. He says would pay. He says truck has heated steering wheel. The steering wheel. I mean, because you think about it, like what isn't like OnStar one of the things too? It's just the breaking of the ice. that they have it, and then it's going to go away after whatever it is for your new purchase is over. But that's just that one other little thing that they're testing to see how far they can go. If people like, we really got to get back down to some basic vehicles. That's what they keep through the grapevine, to make them basically affordable and just basic, man. I mean, like I'm ready to go back to crank windows. You know what I mean? Because it's just uh, all this new stuff is just bonkers, to me. Uh, 5 cents, 5 cents was it to open the door. Maybe they'll make a little coin thing on there. You got to drop it in or something. Charging people for using MyQ. Ooh, MyQ. Yeah, yeah. I think that was what was it? That little black box? I don't think I see one over there, right? Because I remember one of the technicians came by and he's like, he had the little black box. He's like, "Hey, you want this?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And he goes, "Well, I don't remember. It was 10, 15, $30." He goes, "Yeah, the customer don't want it. It's 30 bucks to have it a month." And I'm just like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah." Yeah, I was like, "I'll just put it on the shelf. I guess we'll leave it over there." So that's why I said like all this stuff is it's definitely coming. It's just a matter of when and the time. It's they're trying to find ways to squeeze you. It's always trying to squeeze you. And it's tough because in the business, you have so many variables, right? You're trying to take care of your own household. You got your own food expense, you got your own bills, and then you got product issues, and then you got vehicle issues, and you got just like I think Tanner was even mentioned, right? He doesn't don't buy anything. Was it 2017 or newer for scissor lifts because they got certain safeties on them, but eventually one day you got to, what I mean? Eventually, well, I don't absolutely have to, but they will. Like I've been hearing a lot of the automotive stuff is dried up. Some of the used stuff too, and so it's just you start getting to be got to go back to the horse and buggy. I see you in there, CC Motion. I hope you're doing good. What's up? What's up? Tradesman trucks all the way. Says I love my rubber floors. My dad always got me always hooked on that. He said one of our old it was a 1977 Chevy. We called it Old Blue, and that had rubber mats. And he said, "Man, he goes easiest thing, sweep it out, spray it out with the hose." Nowadays, they have electric leaf blowers and all electronics like we do, but easy to clean the truck. Just blow that out. I used to in my one truck. I don't have rubber anymore, but I put carpet. But I used to just get a wet mop it up real quick, real simple. You know what I mean? That's what they need to do. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. I mean, what is it right now? They're doing employee pricing, but I still don't think that's enough discount. I got to catch up on some of my automotive guys to see what the market is. I think they're moving some, but still not a lot. So, but I don't blame him. I mean, I'm down there talking to the mechanic the other day, and he's telling me because luckily the vans, right? They got the 6 speed. He says he watches some transmission guy. I don't know which one it is, but I guess that 8 speed is just almost, you know what I mean? And then I'm literally watching another one. The He still says he hasn't heard nothing about the 10 speed. He says he hears words, but he don't hear them in the Chevys. And I said, there's that valve that they're doing that big recall on that it locks up and it'll make your back. And there's a good video out there with a guy pulling a big fifth happening. Definitely pretty scary. But then I was watching another one. I guess injectors shake, and that makes the terminals. And I'm just like the guy, of course, the one mechanic was explaining about all the missions, and it's a shame. It's a shame. I just can't imagine spending 60 $220,000 on something like that. And at 40 or 60,000, I'm starting to have those glitches. That's just sad. Evans Tanner, I heard that it's only the craft version of MyQ. Which brand has its own app? Back there was a Chamber Liftmaster. Uh, huh. Ooh, it's Rich guy here. So till you guys need new HVAC, that we would just got turned upside, what does it say, upside down with new and oh man, don't even get me started on that. I don't know if it's true, right? Like I was always, under the impression Maybe Rich knows what it is. What was the first one? It's like R12. I think it's R12, right? R12 is the one refrigerant they used in cars for a long. Went to R something else, but supposedly, I'm not an expert, but you know the cans, the air cans that you get. Supposedly that's R12, and I'm sitting there just like, they always tell you, right, when you're evacuating a car, right, you're working on the system, make sure basically, what do they call it, recover your vapors and stuff and the liquid and all that. Don't let it go in the atmosphere. Okay, you know, it's not good for the atmosphere. Got it, right? But then when I watched this guy literally take one of those aerosol cans, where the white one, turn it upside down, or he has a tool to punch a hole. He says this is basically R12. And I'm thinking about, well, it does kind of freeze. Like if you turn one of those aerosol cans upside down and spray it, it's like, you know, frost coming out. And I'm just like, are you serious? Are you serious? Like they're selling these cans that basically has R12 in it. Yet when you're working on a vehicle, you're supposed to recover it. But I thought, yes way. Probably. That's probably true. It does not surprise me. But they got somebody in lobbyist or whatever that lets them sell that product. And yet when you work on a car, you can't even hardly find the stuff or whatever. You still can, but they just make it harder and harder. And then some of that products too that are out there, they're not better. They're worse products. It's kind of like, you ever notice, like you ever have to, I had a couple houses that had blacktops, and I always remember when my mom did a blacktop on a driveway. I remember she was like, it's going to ruins your shoes. She had to help my grandpa on one, right? So I was, and you do blacktop, right? You get the buckets, the 5 gallon buckets, pour it out, smear that stuff all over. Man, it looks great. But your shoes are ruined. Ruined. I mean, her shoes nasty after she was done. Years and years went by as I grew up and started getting my own houses, and I'd be doing the stuff, and and that stuff I darn near spray off my shoes, and it tells you it's got like a 24-hour cure time. And you check the radar, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's supposed to rain. It's all going to wash away. And it's like, we're good stuff, man. I shopped around. I couldn't find it. It was all environmentally friendly, and I was like, oh, what I would give for the stuff that would ruin my shoes, so I could just put it on, and an hour later or 2 hours, at least if it rained, it's not going to wash away. And but you know how it is. You spend a lot of money for that stuff, and it's that crappier product. You got to, like, I don't know if the old stuff you had to mix, but you got to mix it. It's latex base. Yeah. Um, Rich's guy says, Dave, it's all about the money. Yep. I think what the idea is too is they change a lot of stuff. Like I don't know how I learned this, but what my brain always tells me is, right. It's like we keep getting pumped full of all save the environment, save the environment, save the environment. But yet on my end of the perspective, right, as a consumer and as a installer of products and stuff like that, all I see is throwaway. And I go, that doesn't really seem like saving the earth, does it? All this product and metal and chemicals and just whatever. Just who did I just talk to? Oh, I know what it was. It was a pump for a log splitter, and they gotta just it's the manufacturer is no longer around. And I was talking to the guy, and he said, yeah, he goes, it's just it's junk. And I said, it's not repairable. And he said, no. He said, pretty much, he says, that's the world we live in. It's a throwaway society. You use it. He says that once it's junk, they're junk. This is not a rebuild one. I don't know if the new one that's coming in is going to be, but it's just sad. It's sad when Tanner's got, he says black smoke matters. That is true. That is true. There's a whole gizmo, right? I mean, it's like when you think about it, when the stuff has to go into regen, how much pollutions can you imagine? Like a truck going to regen, how much fuel is burning and all this other stuff, and then you got to buy the urethra or whatever they call it, the base of the def stuff, the containers. It's all silly. It's just so silly. It doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't. All right, guys, I'm getting out of here. Happy Easter. It's Easter today, at least here. I'm gonna get out of here. Let's see if Evan's got one. He popped up here. For Dave gives my number. Are you iPhone or Android? Ooh, maybe look me on Facebook to avoid uh, overages. Oh, shoot. Well, either way, we'll make the connection happen one way or another. But anyways, thank you guys so much for being here. Thanks you for all the comments. Um, Def is nothing but pig piss. Yeah, that's what I took a picture of it a couple days ago. It was like 60% or some high number of water. I was sitting there looking at it. I think it was at Lowe's in the checkout. You know, I'm just killing some time, so I'm sitting there looking at it, like 67% water, and then I'm like, whatever else, you know. And I'm like, whatever, you know. Uh, Apple overage charges. I'm unlimited. Cool. Talk to you soon. There you go. Like I said, if you need to shoot me, whatever, I'll make it happen. All right, guys, I'm out. Happy Easter. Good stuff. We'll see you on the next one. Maybe Pop Tony could jump on sometime so Uncle Dave take a break. See you guys later. Keep your fingers.